So, you're dreaming of studying art in Paris. I mean, who isn't? It's the creative heart of the world. But let's be real, turning that dream into a reality, well, that means you've got to figure out a pretty complex and uniquely French system. Don't worry, though. That's exactly what we're going to break down right here.
Okay, let's just start with maybe the single most important piece of advice you're going to get, and it comes from a student who actually got in. Your application, it isn't just a test of how well you can draw or design. It's a creative act in itself. It is your chance to tell your story. Keep that idea in your head as we go through all the nuts and bolts.
So here's our game plan. We're going to start with the big picture, the lay of the land for Parisian art schools. Then we'll get into the universal tools you'll need. After that, we'll tackle the top schools, break down the real costs, and even get some wisdom on what happens after you get that acceptance letter.
First up, we've got to map out the landscape. Because in Paris, not all art schools are the same, not by a long shot. And knowing the difference is really the first step to picking the right path for you.
It pretty much boils down to this simple division. You've got your public schools, which are often under the Ministry of Culture. They're super prestigious and incredibly affordable, but the application process is very structured and, yeah, very competitive. Then you have the private and consular schools. These are often highly specialized, way more expensive, and they usually have their own direct, custom-built application processes.
And you're definitely going to hear this term thrown around, grande école. Just think of it like the Ivy League of French specialized schools. These are the absolute elite, public institutions that are crazy selective and known all over the world. Getting into one of these is a huge, huge deal.
Okay, so you've got the map. Now let's talk about the actual tools you're going to use to apply. These are the platforms, the documents, the things every single person applying needs to know about.
So there are basically three main doors into the system. First, there's Parcoursup. That's the big, centralized French platform for most public undergraduate schools. Then, a lot of the famous private or consular schools, like Abelins, make you apply directly on their own websites. And finally, for international students, Campus Art can be a total lifesaver. It lets you apply to a whole network of schools with just one single online application.
Now, no matter which path you take, you're going to need this core set of documents. Seriously, get these ready early. And notice that word translated pops up twice. Do not sleep on this part. You need official, professional translations for your transcripts and your diploma. And yeah, for most programs taught in French, a B2 level is the absolute minimum they'll even look at.
One last bit of universal jargon you'll definitely run into is the CVEC. When you go to register, they're going to ask you to pay this. It's not tuition, okay? It's a mandatory annual fee for student life and campus services that pretty much everyone has to pay. And it's around 100 euros.
All right, let's get to the fun part, the boss levels. The top-tier schools, they don't just want your grades in a standard portfolio. Oh no, they have these unique creative challenges that are designed to see how you actually think.
You can really see the personality of each school and how they test you. eInside gives you this creative prompt online that you have a weekend to respond to. The legendary Beaux-Arts, they still do in-person artistic tests. ESNCI wants a video. And Gobelins, well, they have their own very specific thing going on.
You have to hear this. Gobelins, the #1 animation school in the world, doesn't want a simple PDF portfolio. Nope. They specifically ask for a Tumblr blog filled with your drawings and creations. It's their way of seeing not just your final work, but how you think, how you curate, and how you present yourself online.
Or how about France's top industrial design school, ENCI Les Ateliers? They ask you to make a 2-minute video answering a really simple but incredibly deep question. Who are you? This goes right back to that quote we started with. They don't just want a perfect drawing of a chair, they want to know your story, your unique perspective.
So, you've cracked the creative code, you've conquered the application, but how much is this going to cost? Let's talk money, because when it comes to art school in Paris, the difference in price tags can be absolutely staggering.
Okay, first, just look at this number. 438 euros. That's the annual tuition for the 2024-2025 year at the Beaux-Arts de Paris, one of the most prestigious public art schools on the entire planet. It's practically free.
And then there's this. 15,200 euros. That's the yearly tuition for a non-EU student at the world-famous Gobelins. This one comparison says it all. The choice between public and private isn't just about academics. It's a monumental financial decision.
But of course, tuition is only one piece of the puzzle. You still have to live in Paris, and that costs money no matter where you go to school.
A pretty conservative estimate for your monthly living costs, that's housing, food, transport, all of it, is around 1,200 euros. So you really have to budget for the city itself, not just your school.
Okay, you're in, you've figured out the money. Now, what is it actually like? This is the crucial reality check about what it really means to step into the demanding French academic world.
This quote from a student at the Sorbonne just perfectly captures the academic culture shock so many international students feel. She studied hard, she knew all the material, but she still failed her very first essay. So why?
The answer is this one single crucial word: problematic. This is the secret key. A French academic paper isn't just a brain dump of facts on a topic. It has to be a structured, focused argument that's designed to answer a central research question: the problematic. If you don't have one, even a paper full of great facts is going to fail. Understanding this is literally the difference between struggling and succeeding.
So, we've covered the map, the tools, the boss levels, the costs, and the culture. Let's pull it all together and figure out your journey forward from here.
Here are the big things to remember. First, know the difference between public and private. It's a huge choice. Second, figure out the right platform for the school you want. Third, remember it's your creative story that makes you stand out. Fourth, budget for the reality of actually living in Paris. And finally, success isn't just about your art, it's about embracing the French academic method.
And that brings us right back to where we started. All the platforms, all the documents, all the fees, they're just the tools you use to build something. Your application isn't just a form you fill out, it's a story you tell. So the only real question left is, what will yours say?